I am feeling good today. I got my workout in, so welcome back. I'm medicated. I got caffeine, and I'm a first three-peater today, Liv Pavlov, and yeah, I'm excited. We're gonna do like Dakini 101, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But before we dive into that, I want to ask you, before I forget, what's turning you on in life or making you feel the most alive right now?
Yeah. Two things. One, the fall coming in and
Mm.
like waking up every morning. I try to go out and stand on the grass and just put my feet on the ground and look at the sun and like that cool breeze. Oh my gosh, that is making me feel alive. I say I turned into an indoor cat this summer. I was just like hibernating.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me too,
I'm normally
especially
not like
here.
that. But yeah, fall and just connecting with the nature of fall. And my community here. I just
Mm.
have so many good friends, and like really almost every day I could be doing something, and that is turning me on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do love I saw this funny meme, that's set for Austin
Uh,
winter. It's like it's or fall. Starts at 6 a.m., ends at 9 a.m.
yeah, totally right. Because then it's like 95 and yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, but I am ready to, like, get cozy and, like, all that stuff.
Mhm.
I love the nice little chill. So I would love to dive in. We had, like, a little power sesh, so I'm like, "Boom, boom," I'm ready to go. I wanna start off, like, what is a Dakini?
Mhm. Yeah. So, yeah, as we were dropping in, Dakini means sky dancer. So,
Mm.
to me, this translation from Sanskrit means having one foot in the spiritual realm
Mm.
or the other realms, the other world, and one foot in earth, like really grounded. And, another word that is the same translation is shaman. Actually,
Mm.
it
Oh, I
has the
didn't realize
same
that.
to have one foot in both worlds. But yeah, that's what Dakini actually means. And more commonly now, people who offer any kind of tantric healing, tantric coaching, are identifying and using that word as being a Dakini to encompass and be a label for like, okay, you're not just a coach, you're not a masseuse. Like,
Mhm.
what are you? Oh, I'm a Dakini. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I have,
Hmm.
like, the labeling of it, or, like, I'm like, that's what I've had. I'm like, what do I call myself?" No,
Hmm.
is it
Hmm.
this or that? And I
Yeah.
know because a lot of times when people think about tantra, they think immediately like sex or in that realm. Like, how do you describe like the deeper underlying intention or purpose of the
Mhm,
body work
mhm,
beyond just the erotic? Because I know that that's part of it, but I feel
mhm.
like it's yeah.
Yeah, it's a big question and a good one. So I like to come back to the definition of Tantra, which means to weave together. That's
Mm.
actually also the
Mm.
translation, to weave together. And so to me, a Dakini is someone that is supporting me to weave together different parts of myself. So that might be to weave together my sexual trauma and my desire to have a healthy, intimate life, right? Or to weave together my body and my soul, or my spirit and my being,
Mm.
or my hidden shadow desires and the things I've never, my deep, dark secrets and self acceptance, right? To
Mm.
me, the role of a Dakini and then the male version or, it is very gendered, but is a Daka or a Dakini is someone who's supporting me to bring different parts of myself together into greater wholeness. And I think specifically, Tantra, once you kind of come into the world of like, ooh, Tantra, what is it? Sex. Ooh, it's sparkly. Then I think the next thing people encounter is like, wow, this is a realm of like deep acceptance for all people, all lifestyles, all ways of being, all life paths and histories. Maybe even to a fault sometimes, I think, in the tantric community. That's what it's really about to me is like when I'm working with someone, when I'm supporting them, there's usually something that someone is dealing with, right? Whether it's I'm dealing with a literal what people would call sexual dysfunction, right? A lot of times women come in and they're saying, I'm feeling a lot of numbness in my body, or I, check out and dissociate during sex. What do I do with that? How do I actually learn to bring that into having a present, loving, healthy connection with my body and sex? Or, men are often drawn in through like, coming too quickly, or I want to learn how to, you know, have more feeling of control over my body, or, I don't know how to pick partners that make me feel safe or connected. And so people often will kind of come in through the door of something's going on, a challenge sexually, but it's always so much deeper than that. It's always like really then looking at, okay, well, where did that start? And why is that happening? And did that come from something in your last marriage or in your childhood, or what you learned from your church that you're constantly struggling to integrate, right? And so yeah, I really feel that my purpose is supporting people to weave together parts of themselves that have felt hard to hold or understand or
I
integrate.
love that definition, or because I feel like I've heard different definitions, but and when you said something about it meaning like weave together too, I immediately thought like weave those different parts, and then also like helping people maybe weave together like the sky dancer element, like the spirit and the human space. So it's basically a bridge,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so interesting to me. I'm curious, like, let's see. And I know that I've worked with you before too. And like in previous episodes, I think earlier, like 3 years ago, we had a session on like before I did the Yoni healing session
Yep.
and then after. And I, I just remember you saying like we had a conversation about expanding the capacity to feel. And I was like, you said something about it. Yeah. In all directions.
Yes.
Because I was like, whoa, I have this high joy, but the opposite spectrum of that is how I guess, quote unquote, low or that I could feel or traverse, right? The scale, I guess. What do you suggest for people that are like wanting to bring more presence to like their sex life or to their, encounters?
That's a great question. Hmm. Well, I would start with like noticing where you lose presence. Like some of us lose presence when we feel like things are moving too slow, right? It's like some of it, like that awkward pause in the connection or the conversation. It's like some of us lose presence and go into like, oh my God, I need to do something, right? And other people lose presence when things get too intense, like when there's too much sensation or too many people in the room or too much going on or whatever it is. And so I think the first thing would be awareness, like that. I have this approach I've been using and teaching in my recent class. It's called Sensual Medicine Therapy. And there's 4 steps. And the first step is bringing awareness to whatever is happening. And so I would say that is the place to begin. And then the second step is about expanding our somatic capacity. So like our body's capacity to feel and help us stay present. And so honestly, it sounds so simple, it's so cliche, but breathing. Like I think I know for myself and for most of my clients, like the hardest thing to remember to do when we're receiving any kind of touch, much less intimate touch, is breathe. Like, and not because we kind of go like, I'm breathing, but not really. But like, and that just completely tells our body to open, to relax, to expand, and the body then helps us stay present. So honestly, those would be my 2 like tips that could apply to anyone, no matter what you're experiencing, is notice what's happening. Why am I checking out? When do I lose presence? And then when I do, breathe.
So good.
I know it's so cliche, but it's like actually game changer.
Yeah. I'm like, I know I lose presence when I have this phone. No. And yeah, that's like, getting curious about that. That's cool. I'm curious about the other 2 steps of your sensual medicine. What did you say? Sensual medicine? Love that.
Yeah. Then the next one is erotic reclamation. So reclaiming our connection with our Eros. So Eros, for me, is the word of life force energy. And sometimes we think of Eros as like just the sparkly turn on feeling that we feel in our genitals. But I think of Eros as the same thing that grows my fingernails or gives me a new inspiration or motivates me to get up and do my workout in the morning, right? And when I'm feeling like low in my Eros in my body, I'm not very motivated in my work, in my life to do stuff, to have new ideas. And I think that Eros is so often suppressed and shut down because the world has this kind of context that a lot of us have learned that it's not safe to be fully alive and fully expressed or too much or too
Mm,
sexy or too out there, too whatever. And so the process of erotic reclamation for me and the way that I've been working with it is like, can I learn by myself, with myself, one on one at home when there's no one else in the room to like actually turn up the volume on that aliveness, whether it's through dance, through movement, through like vigorously just rubbing my whole body
mm,
head to toe, whether it is like what we would call self-pleasure or bringing touch to my genitals, whatever it is, it's like, can I reclaim that my liveness is mine and it's okay to have it and I can cultivate it? So
mm,
that's the next step. And then the fourth part is erotic embodiment. So once I can do that by myself, once I can turn on and feel alive and have more motivation, have more energy for my workouts and my kids and my life and my everything, then can I actually take that into the world? Can I embody that? How do I get dressed? Right? Like today I was like, okay, I'm going to wear double earrings because I'm going on the podcast with her. Like, just who cares? Right? But it's fun. Like,
yeah.
how can I just bring me, a little more of me, my expression, my aliveness into my body and into what I do and how I show up in the world. So that's
I
the
love
fourth.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love, I kind of thought about, you mentioned I want to talk about like maybe like the moms, like they're doing
Mm-hmm.
stuff or like have, a mile long to-do list or errands or,
Mm-hmm.
like maybe the length, like maybe it doesn't have to be a certain length or maybe speak to that a little bit. Cause I feel
Mm-hmm.
um, like not adding to their list
Mm-hmm.
in a way, where I'm trying to go with
Definitely.
this.
Yeah, like for
Yeah.
for moms especially who
Yeah.
have a lot on their plate, how can they embody this and have
Yes.
this without it being like, "Oh my god, I have to go to a retreat or I have to
Yeah.
take an
Or
hour," which,
exactly.
is $30 more of my nanny or
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
it is. Yeah, totally. Well, yeah, for anyone watching that doesn't know, I have a 20-month-old daughter. She's not quite 2, not quite 1.5, so I've deeply been on this journey myself of, being pregnant, going through birth and postpartum, what that's been like. And yeah, I would really say I felt so humbled throughout the whole journey of just like, wow, my connection to my Eros and my life force was top priority before I got pregnant and before I had her. And pretty instantly after getting pregnant, it's like that being is now number one priority, like
Hmm.
whether you want it to be or not, really, And so I just have a lot of personal compassion for that. And I do say the biggest gift of motherhood is that I'm not the most important person in my life anymore. And actually, like,
Mm.
wow, what a godsend that is. Like, what a godsend it is to have to think of someone else first. So I want to start with that. But um, I say literally 5 or 10 minutes practice can make the world of difference. And I actually have been teaching a class where I do a practice a week. I
Oh, cool.
send a practice and it's between 5 and 10 minutes. So
Cool.
hopefully anyone can do it. I have moms in the program, they're doing it. And, I think some of the easy, simple places to start are put on one song and dance to it, right? And you can incorporate your kids. Like
Yeah.
it's beautiful if you can have it before they wake up. Or like my hack is often as soon as Anna falls asleep for her nap, I go do my pleasure practice. I put her down and it's like pretty good because I don't usually want to do it right away in the morning.
Hmm.
And so, midday, whatever it is, afternoon, by the time she's going down for her nap, it's like, go do that now and then go do the dishes and then go do the emails and then, but dance to one song, put on a 5 or a 10-minute timer and just self-massage on your whole body. It can be really beautiful to look in the mirror and look at your body and look at all the changes you've gone through, or look at the places that are hard to accept or that we judge or criticize, and like just bring touch and like, okay, like let's say it's your thighs, like, oh, okay, this is my body. These are my thighs. Like you said, how do we get more present? Like bringing that presence, looking at yourself in the mirror, breathing with yourself. Those are a couple of my top
I love
top
that.
tips.
Yeah. I think, yeah, moms are not. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
One last thing I'll
Yeah.
say. I remember one of the first things I started doing again after birth was working with a Yoni egg, which people may or may not know what that is, but it's literally a little tiny egg, crystal egg. And the Japanese Dakinis really loved those and were who kind of started using them. And it's a tool that both like strengthens and tones and supports just blood flow and juice flow and nervous system flow inside your yoni. And so I started working with my yoni egg again after I had my baby. And that was really, really good for me. And like literally you can just kind of breathe and consciously breathe the egg into your body. And like that could be your practice for the day.
Yeah.
So, and then let the egg be in there. And it supports with, bringing back lubrication. It supports with kind of finding a healthy. Sometimes after birth, our yoni actually starts working way too hard to like pull everything back together. That's what I felt, because when people have this myth of like, you're going to have a baby and you're going to lose all the tone in your yoni. It's like actually not always true. Or if there is an over relaxation, having that egg in there helps make it like a accurate level of
Wow. Yeah. And it also reminds me, it's a good reminder for me to use mine.
Yeah.
Because I have a couple in like my nightstand.
Yeah.
And then also it just makes me smile because I think of like my former therapist and how she was also very much a guide and sacred sexuality and all that too. She's like, well, and she's like, it was a black obsidian. And she's like, you could also use it to get rid of any devil dick energy. She said that to you. Oh my God. And I just love it.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah. So I was like, it has physical benefits, energetic, emotional, cut cords.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. I kind of want to touch on, I guess, a little bit I have this question here. Like, how does trauma or emotional memory live in the body, or how can the tantric touch help to release or integrate that? Because I had several sessions that felt like it was like clearing or cleansing, and then it became more like pleasurable. And I think you had mentioned one time before, and I'd love to reiterate it, about how we're formed, or like we're an egg in like our grandmother or something. And I'd love to speak to that element too.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Those are two good big ones. So yeah, I think I'll start with what you said last about like that we existed in our grandmother's body and, really beyond. Like if you think about DNA and just like how much memory and information lives in our DNA, it's like, how do we know how to chew? How do we know how to swallow? How do we know how to walk? Like, where does that come from? It's from our DNA,
Wow.
right? And so to think like, okay, how do we know how to speak? How do we know how to relate? How do we know how to have sex? It's like, actually, that's all in our DNA too. And I really largely believe in epigenetics, which is the idea that what our ancestors experienced gets passed down to us to some degree. And so, I know for myself, weirdly and interestingly, as a child, I felt like I could have memories that weren't mine of things that my mom and my grandmother had gone through.
Wow.
And so, like in terms of their sexual trauma, and I had not personally experienced anything like that in my life as a child. And so I didn't understand how I knew that until my 20s probably. But I think that the idea that we come in like a blank slate is just not accurate. And I think we come in holding a lot and carrying what our moms especially went through, especially as women. And so Yeah, so that I hope that's helpful for some people who have felt like, okay, yeah, why do I have these patterns in sexuality, or why do I feel closed, or why do I dissociate, or whatever it is, because that can happen even if we haven't ourselves had challenging or unwanted sexual experiences. But then to add on to the second part, if we have, right, which I mean, I think sadly, many of us have, right? Most of us have, and even from the experience of like we're too young and we don't know how to communicate, and so we have an
Mm-hmm.
awkward first sexual experience, right? It's like
Yeah.
that gets stored in our body,
Yeah.
um, and and so a great book. I really love this book, The Body Keeps the Score. Has a lot of good information about this, if this is something someone is really wanting to dive deeper into. But movement, breath, and sound and movement are shown to be the most effective way to release like tension in our body. And I believe that trauma, whether it's our own or the challenges of our ancestors, shows up as tension in our body. And so it's like, I can feel my arm over here, and if I had a good workout and I didn't work out too hard, it's like there's no real tension, right? But even the trauma of a workout, right? If I touch my arm, like, ow, it's sore because I worked out hard. It's like that tension is held in there. And so a big part of the way that I hold my tantric healing sessions is I look for tension in the body. And we don't often get attention to
Mm.
the area under our undergarments, right? In a massage, it's like, don't take your undies off, or we're going to cover your bum, or we're not going to get into your hip creases even. And that whole area of our body can just have so much tension. And so, usually, through the first few experiences of a session, what people are encountering is finding that tension, whether you want to call it trauma or held energy or literally held memories, and breathing, sounding, and even like just moving, right? Because sometimes those areas feel very stuck and frozen. It's like, someone touches your hip and you contract around it. And so it's about helping the body to breathe and release that. And I think those same tools of bringing breath and sound and movement to that tension apply, whether, what's coming to mind is I'm thinking about this experience. I have no idea where it came from. Maybe it is my grandmother's, or yeah, this is my memory from when I was 13 and this thing happened. Like, it actually doesn't matter. And that's what's beautiful too about tantric healing work, is that it's so distinct from talk therapy, where we can get a lot of freedom and support ourselves in integrating shame. And I love my therapist. I still see her regularly, but the body doesn't need to know the story. The body just
Mm.
needs help in breathing and moving and releasing.
I love
Mhm.
that. Love that distinction. I want to ask this before we wrap up
Mhm.
too. If someone is curious but nervous about receiving tantric body work, like I know you just said like about the genitals or like
Mhm.
the hit, how many times do we get the opportunity to receive that? But what would you want them to know or feel safe in before exploring it?
Mhm. Yeah. I actually remember telling you this when we first had a call, and I said, "Look, I'm happy to talk with you, and if any part of you doesn't feel comfortable working with me, don't." I remember saying that to
Yeah.
you. I say that to everyone. So the first thing I'd say is only pick a provider, only have a session with someone that you don't have any weird feeling about in your belly or your body. And it could be, you could be picking up on something totally specific, right? Or it just might not be a match for some reason, right? Your friend might have had a great session with this person, but that person's not for you. Like, totally trust that. That would be my first thing, is that when you find someone you're meant to work with, you might still feel scared, but you won't feel weird about them and
Mm,
weird about the session. And then secondly, I have done plenty of sessions where my clients have stayed fully clothed, right? And it's like you can still get touch or release pressure
mhm,
in the hips, or, if you need that level of easing into things. So don't put pressure on yourself to have your session look a certain way. That would be
mhm,
another thing. And then I guess lastly would be talk about that fear. Talk about it with your provider. Talk about it with whoever you're seeing. Probably the same way you've been trained to hold sessions is we always talk about what do people want? What do they not want? What are their boundaries? And what are their fears? I think that's, a frame that you probably have. And so going in like, I'm fine, I'm good, I'm ready for this. And inside you're like, I'm so scared about this. I just don't want to say it. It's like, again, weaving together, weaving the fears in, looking, where does that fear come from? What are you afraid of? Why is that important? Let's welcome that in. That fear is important too.
So, I definitely talk about like fears, boundaries, and desires, intention. And then I've also been playing this game called We're Not Really Strangers for a couple of rounds to kind of like build a little more rapport or drop in, be a little more vulnerable, like kind of like set a little tone. We've had a call, but a lot of times there hasn't been much beyond that. And I could understand like the nerves going into something like unknown. It's so brave. It's so brave.
It is.
And I love that you said it doesn't have to look a certain way. Anything else that you want to drop in here before we wrap up? Or I do have a lightning. Okay. No, I forgot I had this lightning round down here if we want.
Okay.
Unless you got
I was just going to say, to a lot of the world right now, and probably some people hearing this, what we're talking about is like, what is this? This seems so wild, so weird, so out there. But I think there's something just so natural about the approaches of Tantra. It's like, I think it's unnatural that the world has taught us we have to like totally just hide and lock our sexuality into this box and like only open that box with certain people or in these certain ways. It's like, I really believe that before we got so strange on this planet about power and about money and about, whose resources or whose, it's like, I think there was a way that we were way more like able to serve each other and able to accept all of people and accept all of ourselves. And so there's just something about this whole approach and these kind of sessions that feels so like, this is the way it should be. Like, this is just natural. And whatever we've been doing for the last several thousand years seems really weird to me.
How has that served
like,
us?
this is normal. So,
I think about like the ancient, like the Isis temples or stuff like that about, I guess some of the practices are ancient, right?
Definitely.
And getting people back into their hearts.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a little quick lightning round that we can go if you want to do. Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
One thing people get totally wrong about Tantra.
Yeah, that it is just about sexual encounters, like how to have better sex, or that, it's about having sex with your provider, or that's the main thing I think people get wrong.
What's one body part that holds the most unspoken emotion?
Hips, for sure.
And then current sensual practice lighting you up?
I've been loving a practice called peaking, which is really, it's based on the idea from orgasmic meditation. So doing like very simple clit stroking, but doing it for yourself. And you kind of like build sensation and ride up, up, up until you get to either like numb or it's not changing anymore. And then you stroke down, down, down till it kind of does the same thing, gets numb or kind of times out, and then you go up, up, up again. And it's not an orgasmic practice. It's not about edging. It's actually like, if you try it, you'll notice like, oh, I do reach this peak and I don't feel more. And then I go down and I don't feel more. And then I go up and I feel even more. It's really,
homework.
Try it. It's so fun.
I love it. Well, where can people find you? And or if you have any special offers or anything you want to drop in now, it's a good
Thank you. Yeah. I'm on Instagram, Liv, L-I-V, love, L-O-V-E, Tantra. And my website is my whole name, oliviapavlov.com. And right now I'm really open to a few more in-depth coaching clients. I had several people wrap up their like 3 or 6 month deep dives with me this fall. And so I have a few spots open over the winter and spring for people who want to just really go on a deep transformational journey with their body, their intimacy, their relationships. through coaching. Yeah.
Cool.
So not with body work, but just with getting really cool homework practices from me and talking through what's going on. And yeah.
She's great. I highly recommend. I was in one of her year-long programs and I absolutely loved it. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Such a joy.